I imagine that some of you saw the title of this video, Be Careful This Friday. And you probably assumed that I was referring to the fact that this Friday is indeed Friday the 13th. So if you're superstitious, chances are you're going to be a tad bit more cautious tomorrow than usual. However, unfortunately, I'm not here to talk about Friday the 13th. I'm here to talk about a far more concerning situation. A situation that you should be concerned about regardless if you're superstitious or not. Now, I know that a lot of you all, you're more so here for my entertainment and true crime coverage. And you don't really find much interest in the bigger news stories going on in the world. I know a lot of you don't really like watching the content that talks about war and the possibilities of World War III and all of these military conflicts going on overseas. However, I will say that it's getting to the point where I feel like people can no longer ignore what's going on. I mean, you can ignore it, but I would suggest that you don't, because it's not safe to ignore these problems anymore. There was a time in this country where you could do your own thing and totally ignore everything else that was going on in the world, and you would be just fine. But that time has come and gone. Now, the reason I am here before you all today, the reason I am making this video is because, as you know, there is a massive conflict going on right now in the Middle East with Israel, and several other countries are getting involved as we speak. We're sending warships to the area. It looks like we're going to get involved. And this terrorist group, Hamas, they actually called for a worldwide jihad this Friday. Basically, they're calling for their supporters all over the world to rise up and to carry out attacks all over the world. They're calling for these people to sacrifice themselves. What do you think sacrificing themselves means? I think that I don't have to sit here and tell you what that means. I'm pretty sure you can put two and two together and come to a certain conclusion, right? But this is something I think we should take very seriously. Because this isn't something that just affects the region. This isn't something that's just affecting the Middle East. No, they're calling on their supporters worldwide. A worldwide jihad, a worldwide day of violence, a worldwide day of attacks on innocent civilians, a worldwide day of protest. And they're also calling on other countries to get involved in the conflict in Israel as well. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, that doesn't affect me. There's no supporters of Hamas near me. Well, you're wrong. In fact, there's been supporters of Hamas protesting and fighting in city streets across America for the last few days. And if you think it can't affect a city or a town near you, these protests are not just breaking out in your usual cities like San Francisco, New York City, LA. No. We had people fighting in the streets in Tampa, Florida the other day. Supporters of Hamas, supporters of the fight against Israel, and supporters of Israel, they're all around you. And this conflict has already shown that it has the potential to spread worldwide. There's people fighting in the streets in the UK. There's people fighting in the streets in various other countries in Europe, European countries. Protests all over America. And you have to understand that some of these people are literally raised from birth, raised being told that it's brave and it's good to carry out certain attacks. Like it's cool, it's good. God would appreciate it. God would shine his blessings down upon you if you strap this bomb to yourself and go blow up some innocent people. Now, I know some people may find offense by what I just said, but
الدعس عمليات الدعس عمليات الطعن والاشتباك المسلح في المخيمات.
ايش اكيد هدول العمليات ترفع الراس ولفلسطين. العمليات هاي تاعت الدعس والسكاكين هاي اشي بيرفع الراس لفلسطين.
اذا بدك بطلع بستشهد عادي. انا ان شاء الله.
Facts don't care about your feelings. And the facts are that they are threatening basically every person across the world who isn't down with their beliefs. They've drawn a line in the sand. And anyone who isn't of their particular religion, anyone who doesn't have their particular set of values, anyone who's not okay with their way of life, if you're not one of them, you're against them. And you also have to understand that we have organizations here in America, like BLM, Black Lives Matter. They have put out public statements supporting Hamas's attack on Israel. Now, I understand that this is a complicated situation over there. I'm not here to choose sides between, these people who have been at odds for before I was even born. I'm not here to choose a side. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and support terrorist attacks against innocent civilians, the kidnapping of women and children, killing women and children in the streets. But make no mistake about it, BLM put out a statement supporting the paragliders that paraglided down into a concert and killed and R-worded women right there on the scene and kidnapped a bunch of them, beheaded some, paraded their bodies around the streets. So not only do we have, these people from foreign countries who are now here fighting in the streets, supporting these attacks, but we have organizations here in America that we've already been dealing with for years who support this as well. So who knows what may happen tomorrow? I'm hoping that nothing happens. But when you have the leader of, these organizations and you have the leaders of these terrorist groups overseas calling for a worldwide day of violence, a worldwide day of, hey, rise up, sacrifice yourself, carry out attacks. I think it's something that should be taken very seriously. And unfortunately, it seems as if our country isn't taking this threat as seriously as they did, random grandmas at the Capitol. Parents who have been just trying to figure out what their kids are being taught in school. They've been labeled as terrorists. If you support this person in politics, you're a terrorist. Meanwhile, there are terrorists out here threatening to attack innocent Americans on Friday, and you're not hearing much about it. Isn't that weird? It's really weird. But I wanted to make this video just to give you all a heads up. I'm sure that if you've been following my coverage, some of you already knew about this, but just in case you don't, I will say it one last time. These people are calling for a worldwide day of violence. So tomorrow, I'm not telling you to live in fear. That's the last thing I want you to do. Live your life, but keep your head on a swivel. Be more cautious than usual. Be prepared just in case something goes down tomorrow. Because, this is 2023. And we're living in a time where people are more radical. People are more irrational than usual. So I don't put anything past anyone at all. So like I said, tomorrow, if you're going out, if you plan on doing something, just be very, very careful, especially if you're going somewhere with large groups and large gatherings. But for now, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next video.